the second thing we want to talk about is appearance. Now, when we talk about appearance, that could be a lot of different things. When we speak of that, what are some of the things you think of?
Okay, I'm gonna touch probably a touchy subject, but something that's been happening a lot. I don't know, like recent year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's been more, but I've just noticed it more maybe
Mm-hmm.
recently. Is are females walking around with bonnets and night clothes on and flip flops. And I'm not talking about walking out to the mailbox and check the mail or get the newspaper. I'm talking about you're in a store or you're in a restaurant and you look like you literally just
Shondo.
hopped up out the bed,
Atma.
ran to the car.
Bebop.
Or, and I'm not just going to leave it at females. I want to come back to that because I am a female, so it does make me feel a certain kind of way.
Oh my God.
But for males, sagging, showing everybody your underwear, wearing t-shirts,
Oh my God.
just not representing yourself well. And when you think about older people, when we were growing up, and I know we're still younger, I guess we're probably heading towards middle, but anyways, I just remember people talking about, dress to impress, and people are going to respond to you in the way that you present yourself.
Yeah.
Not just your character, because character, of course, is important.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And we know that God talks about not focusing on the outward appearance, but looking at, the heart of a man. We get that.
Mm-hmm.
The reality, and I'm not going against the word of God, it's also important, though, that we present ourselves in a classy way.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that people see with their eye is your outer, like the physical appearance. Now, when it's talking about not judging the outer appearance, that's more like don't judge a person and, and don't think that this person is, it's another context.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have to be mindful if we're talking about singleness, and we're talking about if you're pursuing to be married and desiring to be married, we have to make sure that we're presenting ourselves accordingly. You can't just go out looking any old kind of way. You need to have yourself presented well. You often will talk about, and you said in some of the videos, how, men are visual.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you have to have all your body parts exposed, because there still should be some wrapping paper on there for it to be unwrapped on the marriage night.
No sense.
Exactly.
Did you play that?
Makes no sense revealing all of that stuff.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
Nobody got time for that.
So you still need to have some wrapping paper on the present, so that on the wedding night, or when you get married, there is something to unwrap.
Talk.
But as far as going out, because even our daughter, who is 7, has made observations.
Man, you all in my
with
stuff.
her eyes about, well, why are they walking through the store with a hair bonnet,
with bonnets on,
and pajamas and flip-flops, Mom? And I'm like, honey, as for us,
oh my gosh,
we're not going to do that. When you go out in public, you're going to look like you're in public. You're going to present yourself well. And that's something that I think maybe is lacking with this generation. I don't know. Maybe are there people actually, bringing that to young ladies' attention, and maybe older ladies alike? Because I don't know if it's just limited to the young ones.
Let me tell you something. All right. I'm going to tell you something real quick. All right. I'm going to just tell you something. Our daughter, we were in the store, and she was like, Daddy, this irritates me. I said, what? I thought she was irritated because she couldn't get something she wanted to get. No, she was irritated because she kept seeing all these grown women with bonnets on their head.
And she's irritated.
And she's irritated at 7. Got pajamas, flip-flops. I'm going to just tell you like this. Bonnets are for the crib.
It's for home.
They're for the home. Like our 5-year-old son, he's like, bonnets. I'm like, be quiet. Be quiet. Don't. Now listen, because you about to open a can of worms your daddy gonna have to try to close. But he was pointing at like bonnets there. Look. They don't like it. And I didn't even teach them that. They just like, why is that happening outside? Why is this? Bonnets are for the crib. I remember growing up, my mom and them, like they would, they would have the rollers in their head,
That's what I was
right?
about to say.
And you know what? They wouldn't be caught dead outside with
I'm
them
telling
rollers in their
you,
head.
it's like you were really in my head because I was just thinking. I remember there were a couple times growing up where, like you have to get your hair done and you're in the salon, and maybe the beautician had to kind of pause for something, or you had to run and go get something. And I had curlers in my head, and I hate it. Like I felt so awkward. Like I don't want to be walking around with curlers in my head, like the rollers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a certain feeling that I had. And it's just like, what happened to that feeling of, there's a way for me to carry and present myself outside of the house, and there's a way for me to be comfortable inside the house. Or for the example I use, like if I'm getting my hair done at the salon, it's a difference. But I'm just trying to figure out, when did we become so comfortable with walking around outside? And you know how I am. I'm big on house clothes, pajama clothes, all that. It's like I wouldn't even want my pajamas on the outside because I'm like, how I'm like street clothes.
You got street clothes, house clothes. She's all into that. Street clothes, house clothes.
And that was before the pandemic. I'm
before
like,
the pandemic.
but yeah, I'm just wondering what happened to where that became acceptable. And then it's like, oh, you can't say anything. Like we talked about before. Remember, I think we've given this example on here before, how we heard the story about a pastor who tried to I'm gonna say mentor. I know he didn't know the dude. He just ran into him in the store. Remember the young guy who had his pants sagging, and he was trying to, help him, like, young man, pull your pants up.
Yeah,
you're a young man. You don't need to sag. And the young man cussed him out, and then proceeded to go tell his mom, who came back and tag team. Like, okay, I'm gonna cuss you out on top of my son cussing you out,
exactly,
for you addressing him.
Yeah,
but in the old school days, you could have that village approach to where if it's an elder and that they meant well, as long as they meant well and had good intent, to say something in order to try to help build up strong men who carried themselves well, or strong women, even the old mothers of the church, who tried to pour into the women to make sure that they're training them up, helping with that training.
Yeah.
But nowadays it just seems like, don't say nothing to me, it's a problem. Like, I'm doing me, and you better not have anything to say about it. But there has to be a standard.
Yeah.
There has to be a standard. People will respond to you and address you and approach you in a way that you present yourself.
Yeah.
So that, I know I went on and on, but
no, you good. You good. Bonnets are for the crib. They are. And like, listen, I don't understand that. Like, ain't no dude checking for that. Like, if, for instance, you saw some dude that could potentially be your husband, he's not attracted to that. All right, he's not. I mean, I'm sorry. I know that we, and I'm actually talking to Sean from Track Stars, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, what 2020 revealed is that don't nobody want nobody to say nothing to them about anything. They just want to live any way they want to live. And how dare you check them? How dare you question them? How dare you challenge them at all? Like, and honestly,
that makes no sense.
It don't.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And like, this is that whole only God can judge me thing, where like, you want to hide behind only God can judge me because you want no one else to make any type of assessment of you, when people assess all the time. But listen, you want to know why you're single? That may be one of the main reasons why you actually
and
are
just
single.
For men who are sagging, young men who are sagging, there's a history to that, know. And so I just encourage people to go out and research why they're sagging. I've heard a couple different historical views on that. One, when they're in prison, basically letting someone know that you're available to be violated. And then two, in the slavery days, they would have their pants down at a certain level so they couldn't run off and escape.
Yeah, exactly.
And
What's up? What's up, y'all? Ebby Ware, Kristen, how you doing? Cameron, what's up, y'all?
Hey,
Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all.
Hopefully I'm looking at the right camera.
Yeah, you are. You're looking at the right camera. But yeah, exactly. There's a history to that. So, that's their appearance with that, how you dress, how you present yourself.
In a favorable way. That's what I
In a favorable way, exactly. So, you wondering why, hey, nobody's checking for me. Are you presenting yourself to where somebody will be like, you know what? That's very attractive. And that'll mean you have to show everything.
Like I
But there's a
said.
way, like you said, that you can dress in a way that's kind of classy. Also, making sure that your health, that's a big part of someone feeling, attracted to you. Because, of course, nobody's saying that we all need to be perfect out here. Nobody's saying that. But you know what's attractive to you. You know what's attractive to most people. So do your best, man, that noise. Do your best to make yourself appealing. Are we on the? Yeah, do your best to make sure that you're appealing and appeasing to the person of the opposite sex. So, we already went over spiritualizing things.
And feeling good and confident in yourself, too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a certain way you feel. I just remember even when they're training
without
people,
being conceited.
Yeah. Even when they're training people to go out and get jobs, they always say you want to dress to impress, and the way that you dress is going to be the way that you conduct yourself throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say the same, even in relationships, feel good and confident in yourself because like we've talked about in some of our other videos, not expecting the person that you are with to complete you. You're already coming whole. We know God is the one that completes, and you have to feel confident and know your value and worth and say, you know what, I am beautiful. I am wonderful, fearfully and wonderfully made. And I'm going to carry myself as such.
Amen.